Get it. Morning. In my previous life, I was in retailing as a buyer, as a merchandise manager, and as a store manager. And with Dillard's, one of the things I started seeing the longer I was in the business was all these experts coming out of college. And one of the things they would pontificate about is your management style. They always heard about management by objective and how important it was. And they always asked me what I thought was my most important management style. I said it was MBA. They said, what's that? I said, management by embarrassment. As a store manager, particularly with 240 people, I could send out an email. Maybe a few would read it. Most of them wouldn't. Hold a meeting, they'd fall asleep. But I found if there was dusty fixtures in the store and I grabbed a rag and started dusting, pretty soon everybody in the store was dusty. So I figured that's a pretty good technique. So I did that all the time. And then the other technique I did was MBWA. Management by wandering around. And that was probably the most important because I learned things I wouldn't have learned otherwise. If you're there, they will tell you things that you don't normally hear about. They aren't going to rush up to your office and tell you what's going on, but if you're out on the floor, they'll get you in a minute. And as a result of that, I got very involved in some of the things on the floor that probably wasn't what a store manager should do, but I thought it was a lot more fun than sitting in an office. One of the things was holds. We had a very strict policy on holds. You could only hold merchandise for 4 days for a customer before they had to buy it. And we had this one customer in shoes, men's shoes, who kept on coming in and buying a whole boatload of boat shoes. I mean, he'd buy 10, 12, but he always bought them on sale. And I go through the stockroom one morning, and here's 22 pairs of boat shoes that are sale price being held for 4 days for this gentleman. Chris Sullivan. Okay. Why is this customer holding? I've seen him. He's a young, relatively young man compared to me, a little bit young. And he always comes in very casually dressed in his cutoffs, and he's always got boat shoes on. But what's he doing with all these boat shoes? I think there's something wrong here, and maybe we should just put the shoes back out and hold. The salesman says, no, I know this man. He's a very good customer. So I said, okay, we'll save him. I said, why can't he come and pick him up now? And he says, well, he's got to go to some football game this weekend. The Outback Bowl is being played, and he's going to be going to the game. That's what he told me. So I said, okay, fine. And I'd seen the customer, so I know I know how he looked, and he looked like a good man. So I'm watching the Outback Bowl that weekend. Halftime show comes on, here comes my customer out on the field. Chris Sullivan is the chairman of the board of Outback Steakhouse. I learned a very important lesson that you can't prejudge people. You have to have an open mind about who people are, and you have to have a welcoming attitude towards people. I made a point in the morning to get on tracks whenever I introduce someone to try to have coffee with them. And for the most part, I do succeed in that. Once in a while, like, what do you want to talk to me about? And I talk to them about the chamber and nothing else. And I find that there's a very welcoming attitude in this chamber, and that's why I belong to this chamber. I went to Allen, I went to McKinney, I went to Plano, but this one has a very open atmosphere that I feel is important to the success of the chamber and to the success of the community, because it encourages people to get involved in the community and get involved in their chamber. People that join the chamber should get a lot out of it personally as well as business-wise. I joined it to get familiar with my community. I didn't expect it to help my business, it's helped. But I get more out of those morning meetings, energy-wise, than I expected, because by Thursday mornings, you're kind of like dragging around a little bit. And if those don't pick you up, you got something wrong with your DNA, because it certainly gives you a boost. But there's a lot of things about the chamber that make you feel good and educate you. So that's what I feel we need to spread the message. And every time I talk to somebody about it, I always talk about, if you want to give back and you want to get a lot out of people and get an education on how to deal with people, go to the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.